We're here for Jodi Arias. Part 4? No, part 1, day 2. What are we watching? Part 2, day 2, part 1. Day 2, part 1. Woo! Day 2, part 1. As you can see, Nicholas is not with me today. He has had work take him away. I don't know if he's going to jump in later. I don't think he's going to because this is going to be a short day. This is our Tuesday, which is a short day. But in Nicholas's stead, we have Jamie. Welcome back, Jamie, in her glorious Ninja Turtle shirt. Welcome, Jamie, to the Jodi Arias.
I don't know. How exciting.
Nicholas, I am away on mediation negotiation. Dave is kind enough to stream on both channels. If the situation is reversed, I will cover for David. Yes, and we are streaming on both channels. So you should be, if you are on Nicholas's stream, you should be able to see this. I should probably check on that, make sure that's working properly. I mean, I did get a notification from his channel that he went live as well. If you want to give super chats over to Nicholas, you can. I will accept them graciously and thank you for them on his behalf. As well as any other comments. I could see both comments. So if you're on Nicholas's stream, stay there. It's fine. I can see your comments come up and I will post them. So like Gigi's comment, this is definitely from Nicholas's stream and I can pull this up. And where Tony says, thanks, Nicholas. So yes, I could see all of your chats. The only thing I don't think I'll be able to see from Nicholas's side is member gifts. But otherwise I could see everything else. So, but we're going to go into it. We have, I forgot what we're doing. Day 2, part 1. So this is the second day of testimony of the morning. I believe we actually get some audio recordings in this one.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the audio recordings are going to be fun. I'm looking forward to a lot of those from the saga that is the Jodi Arias story. I'm just seeing if I got any other chats, questions, or anything like that. All about the prior trial. Yes, and for housekeeping matters, if you are watching this on my stream, I don't know about Nicholas's, if he has a redirect. But if you're watching it on my stream, you will be redirected back to the, what's his name? Rudolph murder trial. I forget his first name. Travis Rudolph murder trial. Let's see. Wild Red 1905 $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Well, I'll just leave this here instead. All right. Well, thank you very much. And I believe this came on my end, Nicholas. So I am the first. Actually, I think I'm the first. Nicholas usually always gets the first super chat. This is the first time I've gotten the first one. It doesn't matter that he's not here. That has no bearing on the decision for me to get the first super chat. Oh, I forgot. I shared the screen earlier, and then I had to pull it down and do a bunch of stuff. So now I got to share the screen again. All right. So January 3rd, 2013. I don't think that's right. Wasn't this trial in 2012?
I thought so.
Maybe it was December 2012 it started.
Oh, yeah.
And then January 3rd of 2013 is when they started going. So maybe that is correct. But I thought it was 2012, but either way.
Someone will correct you, I know.
Yeah, someone's definitely going to correct me. Probably Farrell. Okay. For some reason, my heat was on under me, and I have the air conditioning on in the rest of the house.
Your heat?
No, it was on. I think I accidentally hit it or something. That's the right date. See, Farrell's like, that's the right date. It was 10 years ago. Okay. All right. Okay. Shall we get into it? I'm excited. I don't remember who the witness is. I believe it's a police officer, but I believe he has recorded phone calls. And I was just kind of like going through, engaging the audio and video quality. And I heard some phone calls. So I'm excited, or some sort of recordings. I have no idea what they're of. Who knows? It could be just a 911 call from the friend who found the body, but I'm not sure. So just for recap, so far, we've had the state's opening statement, the defense opening statement, the first witness. See, I did a bad thing. I watched a little bit of day 6, I want to say, in Discord with Jung the other day, and so now I can't do that because now things are out of sync in my head. We watched The Boyfriend, the Jodie's ex-boyfriend, the one that's still alive. You know, all my boyfriends are still alive. We watched some of his testimony, so now that's messing me up. But no, we had the friend of the victim. The girlfriend went on a few dates. That person has testified, and then we had a police officer testify. So those are our first 2 witnesses. So this is still day 2, very early morning. This is like a 47-day trial or something ridiculous. It's not 47, but it's like 30 days or something. So we're still very early on in the case, but let's get going.
It's still ridiculous.
Of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel.
There's Sarah.
The state may call its next witness.
Call the Starow Flores.
Spell your first and last name.
Starow, E-S-T-E-B-A-N.
Are you asking if I sent Jodi a
solemnly
friend
swear the
request?
testimony you're about to receive that you will believe the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you.
Your name, sir?
My name is Esteban Flores,
Who do you work for?
the City of Mesa Police Department.
And what do you do for them?
I'm currently assigned to the homicide unit as a detective.
Drawing your attention back to June of 2008, where were you assigned?
I was assigned homicide.
And did you have occasion when you were assigned to this unit to investigate the killing of somebody by the name of Travis Alexander?
Yes, I did.
With regard to that, what were your duties or what were you assigned to?
I was assigned as the lead case agent for this particular case.
Lead agent, what are you required to
Respond to the scene, investigate the actual crime scene, talk to witnesses, and basically try to solve the crime.
I solve crimes for a living. By the way, I adjusted everyone's volume because the court's volume, mine and Jamie's, because the court volume is so low. But let me know if it's an issue, either too high or too low. But in the meantime, Pip, to answer your question, it could be either. Usually charities provide courts with clothing for people who don't have it, but oftentimes family and other people will give them specific clothing. Since her clothing doesn't look like it's secondhand, I would imagine somebody from her family gave her the clothing, parents or somebody.
When were you first called out to the home?
Was called out on the 9th, just a little after 10 o'clock at night.
And did the investigation begin then, or did it sort of get started the next day?
It got started the next day.
Why is that? Why did you do that at that?
Well, at that point, we began talking to some witnesses who were at the scene, but we needed to get a search warrant to get into the house before we began the initial scene investigation.
And that search warrant wasn't available until the next day.
Correct.
And the next day, while you were
Okay.
while you were at the scene, were you notified that
You're so
somebody wanted to talk to you?
ridiculous.
Yes.
What?
Farrell, she's so ridiculous.
Oh, she's a sleuth. She's like a ridiculous sleuth. If you guys need anything answered or anything researched, by the way, Farrell, you still haven't put me in contact with Jodi, which I am expecting you to do. But get on that.
And who was the person that wanted to talk to you that night?
That night was Jodi Arias.
And was it a telephone call that she made?
Yeah, I believe Letitia Stout probably had like secondhand stuff from Salvation Army. There are probably donations to the courts, but like what she's wearing, what Jodi's wearing right now, this is, I mean, it could be secondhand, but she has a variety of outfits. She doesn't repeat, and they look fairly tailored to her, or at least, appropriately sized. So who knows? I'm speculating, but family often do bring clothes.
Yes.
Did you take the call that night of June 9th, 2008?
No, I did not.
How about the next day? Did you, when you were out, what happened the next day? Did you go to the scene?
Yes, I was at the scene.
About what time did you get there?
Actually, I was still there from the night before.
And during that day, the 10th now, correct?
Yes.
Did you receive any indication that Jodi Arias wanted to talk to you?
Yes, I received a phone call from a fellow officer stating that a female by the name of Jodi Arias wanted to talk to me.
And did she leave a telephone number?
Yes, she did.
So this is the second attempt that has been made, correct?
Yes.
About what time were you notified of this second attempt by the defendant?
It was in the morning before 10
I'm
o'clock.
lost in the testimony. I was
Did
reading
Dan
chat.
return that call?
Yes, I did.
And about what time?
Right around.
Jody wanted to talk to him.
And
That's what I got.
prior to speaking
Okay.
to this individual, well, let's get this way. Whenever you talk to witnesses, do you always Mirandize them or not?
No,
With regard to this telephone call with her, did you Mirandize her?
no.
Why not?
She wasn't in custody.
So Miranda warnings are only required when somebody's in custody, correct?
Yes.
So this telephone call that you have.
Oh, this is a telephone call between the detective and Jody Weir.
Yes, I did tape record it.
And during this telephone call, was there a discussion about whether or not Travis Alexander had a gun?
Yes.
I'm going to show you exhibit number 273. Did you listen to this before you came to court today?
Yes, I did.
And is this the portion of the recording that you had on June 10th involving whether or not Travis Alexander? had
We all have
Yes.
way too much. Her.
273.
Yeah, so oftentimes if the police want to investigate or question my clients, sometimes I will agree to a sit down. Often like what should have happened in Murdaugh, if you guys watch that trial, you use it as an opportunity to do a reverse interrogation. You want to know, hey, what's going on with the case to see if you are a suspect or if there's something else going on, but you don't answer any questions whatsoever. It's fine to do that. Oftentimes it happens because the police are looking to contact and talk to, like in this case, Jody. But when Jody reaches out to talk to the detectives, it can sometimes be a little suspicious, especially because they're not kind of, according to her at this time, they weren't in a dating relationship. So few red flags. We'll see what her recording says. Yeah, it does kind of suck. Let me see what else I can find.
Yeah, do you know when all this happened? I mean, I got a call last night, but is there any word on?
Sometime between Thursday and last night. We're not sure yet. We haven't been.
And you said that maybe multiple people, because he's a big guy. It was, maybe you can't talk about this, but was there like any kind of weapon used, or was there a gun? Was there?
I can't say what type of weapon was used, but yeah, I'm guessing there was a weapon used by the type of injuries that were left behind. Do you know of him having any weapons at all in the house?
His two fists, really. No, yeah.
No handguns or rifles.
The audio on the other recording is just as bad.
No, he was more into like wrestling and UFC, and he had, he said he had just bought a punching bag, and he's like, I love the crap out of my punching bag, But
That's a portion of the conversation, correct?
Yes, it is.
We might have some questions for you, Julie.
Did the conversation also deal with their relationship, their dating life, and that sort of thing?
Yes, it did.
To show you exhibit number 272, this is also another clip. Does that deal with that portion of your conversation with her?
Yes.
And this is the initiating point of the conversation, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Move to the admission of exhibit 272.
Judge, I'm going to continue to the DRT's excerpts haven't been provided. Take us, but I don't know what excerpt.
Council approach. Mr. Martinez?
The state has provided the entirety of this tape recording to the defendant and has done it and did so approximately 3 years ago.
All right. Exhibit 272 is admitted.
Yeah, I went through and checked a couple other feeds that I have, and all of day 2, part 1 is really quiet. So I'm not sure why, but it is.
610-08-14.
Well, I just wanted to offer any assistance that I might have. I was a really good friend of Travis's, and I just, you know, I know that I don't know a lot of anything, but
What have you heard so far?
I heard that he passed away, and that it was. I don't know. I've heard all kinds of rumors. I heard there was a lot of blood. I heard that his roommate found him, or his friend found him, or people were. I'm sorry. So I'm upset, but I've heard that nobody's been able to get a hold of him for almost a week, and that was about the last time I spoke to him too. Which is actually why I thought my friend said I should call you anyway and let you know the last time I talked to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any help we can get from anybody with any kind of contact with him, any phone contact.
I used to talk to him quite regularly.
What's the timeline on this? Have they found him already, or are they still looking for him? Because he was missing for like 5 days, or nobody knew he was missing. Like nobody called, right?
I feel like this is after he's been discovered.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted
Because
to.
she asked about like
If
weapons.
I'm wrong, the chat will tell me.
Yeah.
Regularly. I used to live there. I live in Northern California now. But after I moved a few months ago, and after I moved, we kept in touch very regularly, and kind of fell back a little bit. And it got down to about a couple times a week, but I hadn't heard from him. I talked to him on Tuesday night. I looked at my phone records on the internet to check, and I definitely talked to him Tuesday night.
Okay. So was that your cell phone or?
Yeah, that was my cell. It's the only phone I have.
Is this the number?
So let's call the police and say, "Oh yeah, I talked to him that night, and here's my cell phone, so you can get all my information."
Yeah.
I called.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was Tuesday night. Do you remember about what time?
I think it was. I want to say like 9:15, but I think it was sometime between 8 and 10. So I know it wasn't as late as 10. Probably between 8:30 and 9:30 or so. Yeah.
And what did you guys talk about?
It was brief. I was driving out to Utah, and he was like, "Are you gonna come out and see me?" And I'm like, "No." And he's supposed to make a trip up here at the end of the month because thing that we are doing. It's called there's a book called 1,000 Places to See Before You Die, and it's been featured on the Travel Channel and all that. And we sort of got into that last year where we were starting to see all these different places on the list, and we thought, 1,000 places is a lot of places, but why not? That would be a fun goal. So we each kind of have that goal, and one of the places is the Oregon Coast Fishing Experience Festival, and so he was going to come up here for that, and we were just going to go see that in Crater Lake and just different landmarks. And
Was that trip already scheduled, or just something you guys talked about? It wasn't officially like dated, but I had been trying to reach him so that I could solidify my own schedule because I was planning on making a trip down there soon. But it was supposed to happen in May, and then it was supposed to happen last week, and that didn't work out. So he was going to leave for Cancun today, and then he said as soon as he gets back from Cancun, he was continuing the trip because he's going to drive up the coast, and when he reaches me, we'll go do some things, and then he'll continue on to Washington and see some friends up there. And then I guess that was supposed to happen before the beginning of July. He was supposed to go to Washington, D.C. Okay. Did he have any issues with anybody here?
So many details.
Any enemies? Anybody that wanted to do him harm?
Yeah, when you voluntarily offer so many details and they're not asking you a question, again, that's really bad. It makes you look guilty, and you're giving up way too much information. Julie Justice, by the way, yes, I am aware of that one. And for some reason, this morning is just really quiet across the board. And if I had kind of anticipated that, there's something I can do to boost it, but I don't have it set up yet. But I will make sure I get it set up for later ones.
Got his tires last year. He said he was worried about that, and I was worried about that. He never locked his doors, and I would tell him, lock your doors, and like, you're not my mom, And he comes from a bad city. He comes from Ruby, California, which is gang violence. And I
never been, broken into, and he had his tires slashed. I don't remember when it was. It was last year, sometime around Christmas, I think. Other than that,
Baker. Honey in the ear hole.
we dated for
I hope that's a Danish translation.
like 5 months, and we broke up, and we continued actually to see each other for quite a bit. Right up until I moved.
When did you guys break up?
We officially broke up June 29th of last year. But we didn't. Even though we broke up, we were no longer boyfriend and girlfriend. We decided to remain friends. But I kind of feel embarrassed talking about this, but it was more than friends, but it wasn't boyfriend and girlfriend.
Oh, so you're hooking up. You were a booty call.
Okay, so you guys were not like romantically together at any time, or?
We were intimate, but I wouldn't say romantic as far as the relationship goes. But we were in no way headed toward marriage. Or talking anything about that. We hung probably sometime.
Now you say intimate. Does that include like a sexual relationship with him?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. I know it's kind of embarrassing to talk about stuff
I know,
like that,
and
but you don't know me, so.
Yeah, and if you could just keep it confidential for now,
Yeah.
because I know that he's Mormon. He's not seriously.
Everyone's got it for
church. And
Jody.
I'm telling you this to help in any way I can.
Okay. I appreciate it. So you actually moved back to California a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. What date was that? Do you remember?
I don't remember the exact date. I mean,
The loophole.
I rented the U-Haul. It was early April. Early, like before April 10th. So it's after the 1st, but before the 10th. So I'm guessing 7th, 8th, 9th, maybe. I'd have to check the dates.
Did you stop by the house when you rented the U-Haul to say goodbye to him?
Oh yeah. In fact, after I was almost moved out completely out of my house for about a week afterward, and I just stayed at his house the whole time. I mean, I practically lived there, even when I was there. I spent the night there several times a week while I lived there. I came over and I cleaned his house a lot. He paid me a little bit every month to keep his house nice and clean, sort of like a housekeeper.
Did you ever happen to meet any of his roommates at that time?
I knew his group really well at this time. Various roommates. Some have moved out. One guy moved to Utah, and one guy moved to Phoenix. Zach I don't know if Zach is still there. I think he is.
Yeah, he is.
I knew Zach because I met him, and we sort of connected because he's a photographer like I am. And, he took the room that Aaron lived in previously. So yeah. Zach.
What do you think about Zach? What do you think his relationship is with your ex-boyfriend?
He seemed like a nice guy. When I first met him, he seemed just like a normal guy. He's a returned missionary from he served. Okay, good. I didn't lose you. He served his mission. I think in Arizona. He liked it so much that he moved back to see Travis from church. So, yeah, him and his girlfriend were there. I think there was some alcohol there at one time, and Travis was suspicious about it, but.
Oh no, alcohol.
That's fine because Mormons don't drink alcohol, but
Well, some
yeah, so they're not supposed to. And Travis, that's another thing when it came to that. We call it the word of wisdom: no alcohol, tobacco, drugs, or coffee or tea. And he was just super, super, super strict on that. He wouldn't even take Excedrin for a headache because it had caffeine. He's so strict on that. I'm a little less strict on that.
This is a phone call with the detective the day after his body is found.
They're not Travis's, I can guarantee that. He wouldn't even touch coke. So it's one of his other roommates. But yeah.
Coke like the drink?
And that was around April that you last saw him, right?
Early April.
You haven't been back in town since then?
No, I haven't at all.
I thought somebody had mentioned your name and you had been back in town for like a week or a couple of days.
Oh, I've been thinking about going there. So yeah, I've been definitely planning on heading down there.
But you haven't physically been here since you left?
Since I moved, no, I haven't. So. I was gonna go this week, actually, while he was in Cancun and stay at his house.
Yeah, these captions are really amusing.
So,
Was that something that you guys had scheduled, that you were gonna come down and stay at his house when he was gone?
yeah, no, actually, not. That's what I emailed him about last week. It was kind of last minute, because I was gonna go. I'm looking at a calendar here. I was gonna go not this week, but the next, and then he was gonna come up here that following week, which was before.
Yeah, that's my point exactly,
And,
Gigi.
It's kind of weird. We're all like travelers, and I figured, it would be a good idea if I would have a place to stay. His house is open all the time to friends. I mean, anybody in his business or anybody that comes to visit, he gives up his bed. He'll sleep on the couch. He lets them have the whole room. So it just didn't seem like, he said the door is always open, so I would have felt totally okay just showing up and staying at his house and eating his frozen dinners, et cetera, et cetera. And we would have been fine with that too. And I just, he said just always give me a heads up. So I asked him, let me know if that's cool. If not, I'll make other arrangements. And I never heard back.
And when was that email sent out?
Just a few days ago. I'm in front of the computer, so I can check right now for you.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah. Just logging my account.
I'm logging into my account.
I hear the clickety
Yes,
clacks.
his email.
Yeah, what is his email address, offhand?
His email is travis.alexander@gmail.com. Let's see. I sent one on June 7th. Haven't heard back from you. He got a little bit upset when I said I wasn't driving out to see him, but he gets upset real easily. I don't know. He likes to hang over me a little bit, and we kind of guilt each other sometimes.
So you guys still had a fairly decent relationship as friends?
We did. We had a really
People that we talked to said that you guys, your relationship was kind of rocky and got a little crazy at times. Or
It did. What happened was when I broke up with Travis around last year, because it was all really dumb. It was a bunch of drama.
Jamie's got to send an email.
He was cheating on me, and so
Work is intense, and
I
those
looked
little
in his phone
a-holes.
to find out and found all these text messages, and like it just all blew up, and it was like we realized we didn't trust each other. So
But I don't think the police. I mean, she might have been a
broke up
suspect because I know a bunch of people ran to
we
them
were
and said
still
it's
trusting
her.
each other, and we
But
still
still,
loved each
this
other.
isn't doing her any
So it
favors.
wasn't the best thing, but we still hung out all the time together. And it didn't really help either of us to move on because I haven't really dated anyone since. And he told me that he hadn't dated anyone since, but then he told me that he has. So it's all been kind of weird because we kept our dating lives sort of from each other, like a don't ask, don't tell policy sort of. And I think it worked out. It was more convenient for us. I figured, if he didn't have a girlfriend, then I'm okay coming over. And as long as he didn't think that I was with anybody, then he was fine too. So just the less we knew about each other's dating lives or romantic lives, the better the better off we were. So it was sent June 7th.
How old is she right now, Jodi Arias, in 2013?
what town are you in again?
I'm sorry?
What town are you in again?
I'm in Wairika.
I gotta Google it. Somebody will say
She's
it.
30 because she's 43 now, right?
YREKA?
Oh.
It is 15 minutes from Oregon, and it's on Interstate 5.
Okay. That's right.
Yeah.
42 it says.
Inland.
Not close to the coast.
No, unfortunately.
I want to hear the 911 call from the friends that identified Jodi and what they have to say about her.
I'm trying to remember what they were. I mean, you kind of lived in the house for a while. You knew the surroundings of the house, the kind of furniture he had, the bedding and stuff. Okay, can you describe his bedroom?
It said what she was 26 when she was convicted.
It's kind of an unusual question, but
No, that's fine. I spent a lot of time in there. He's got I don't know if it's like Egyptian cotton or whatever, but it's a really nice brown
Egyptian.
linen, and it's soft. It's not
She looks pretty good for 33.
And, he always brags to everyone about his IntelliGel bed. Like, it's really comfy. So he's got a great mattress. And it's
Not at
like-
the time of the murder.
Apparently it's like this $5,000 mattress.
Wait, so if she's 43 now, the trial was 10 years ago, so she's 33 right now at the time of the trial. And so she would have been about 31 then at the time of the murders. No. 29. She would have been 29 at the time of the murders.
That he picked up for really, really cheap because it was a showroom thing or it was a return or somehow he got a really sweet deal on it. So it's a king size. I don't know if it's California or what, but it's a king size bed. It's kind of like I think it's like a sleigh bed. It's dark wood.
But the bedding is mainly like a brown linen, really nice cotton linen.
Yeah, he has.
The murder was 2008. The trial started in 2012, but December of 2012, and now we're currently in January of 2013. And so that's 10 years ago. And if she's 42 now, 10 years ago, she was 32. When the murders happened, she was 28.
Patterns on the sheets versus
I can do
comforter,
math.
But the sheets are brown and the comforter is brown and the pillowcases are brown.
What? So the color, the comforter is brown as well. Does it have any type of pattern or like tassels or edges?
No, I think it has stripes. I think it has like, and they're not like colored stripes. They're just like stripes.
So she's the same age as me.
Oh, like, it's dark brown, but it's got a little bit darker brown, like threading.
Yeah, you can see that there's a pattern there. And the sheet may be more of like a checkered thing, I think, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Assuming she had some phone calls, maybe even some text messages with this guy, she's identifying everything in his room to put her in the place to establish the fact that she was at that residence. When I don't know that they had that information before this. This is why you don't talk to police people. She's innocent.
His cover too is
Remember, she's innocent right now.
It's a down comforter that's white, and then it's got like I don't know what he used to call it.
I don't know why she thinks this is going to help
It's
her.
like a duvet cover.
Yes, the duvet.
Because people are stupid.
What does the duvet look like?
It comes like
Then he asks her.
it's got buttons on
What's
the
it
end.
look
covers
like?
The whole thing. You slide the actual comforter inside the duvet, which is what you pull off to wash, or you can that kind of thing. So, and we've like many times, it's so hard to get in there with one person. So we kind of just grab the corners and we pull it in together on one side, and then you just sort of fluff it out and then button up the buttons.
That's so much detail, ma'am. It's so necessary.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, it's a 300 thread count. Well, that would be kind of cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
But 300, it's got brown stripes. It's got this little frilly button in the corner.
Tassels or anything like that. Like a light brown.
Not that I remember.
Is there anything in the house that resembles anything? With
All these defendants think they're clever.
Ropish kind of
The ones you don't hear recording from are the true clever ones.
like that. A blanket.
He may have pillows. Yeah, he may have had pillows. Yeah, he has pillows on his bed, not on the bed, but on the chair that's next to his bed.
Yeah.
There's those. There's also a round pillow that he uses to make his bed, and there's just one person in the center. And there may be some kind of tassel thing on that.
Do you know anybody back here still that still has contact with him?
Yeah, lots of people, tons of people.
Is that how you found out about what had happened?
A friend of mine, Dan Freeman, called me last night. I met Dan through Travis.
Dan Friedman.
Freeman. Yeah, Freeman.
Okay, yeah, we talked to him as well.
Jody, zip your lip.
I met him last year with his sister when we all took a trip out to the Grand Canyon in Sedona.
So he called you last night and told you what happened?
Yeah,
Thank you, Gigi.
he didn't have a lot of information.
I love you too.
Any idea
All
what
of my
everybody's
chat.
talking about, what they're saying, what their suspicions are?
They're saying everything that I've heard was that, and I got a lot of my information from Bishop Layton, in more details. And he's basically that they took everybody and separated them, and I don't know who everybody is. I'm assuming Zach because he was there, and his girlfriend, because I called Zach's cell phone and she couldn't tell me anything, but she answered. And she said there are a lot of people here that I don't know, but Zach's not here, so it didn't make sense. And I was confused, but she couldn't tell me anything. So I didn't get a lot out of her, but Bishop Layton said he was there for 4 hours, and they interviewed everybody, and they all went to the police station, and that they're treating it as a suspicious death. And I heard from my friend Dave Hall that there was a lot of blood.
Yeah, she's cringing inside because her attorneys told her that it was stupid for her to call in the first place.
And I also heard that his services will be in California, but that they haven't released his body to his grandma yet. So that's all I've really heard so far.
Well, I can tell you that we're investigating it as a homicide
Okay.
and not a suspicious death.
You haven't heard my theory on marriage yet, Tweety.
And it's important for us to find out
What's your theory on marriage?
why somebody would want to do harm.
You know my theory on marriage? Tweety says I'm throwing around the love word like just like Gen Z. Okay, but here's my theory on marriage. It's not about love. You could be in love and be in an extremely toxic relationship. The question that you should be asking yourself is, do you like your spouse? Do you like spending time with your spouse? Do you like doing things with your spouse? You can love your spouse and still not like doing things with them, then you're probably in a bad marriage. So I'm more about the like than the love.
Okay,
Exactly.
What kind of stuff he was
I'll accept that.
possibly involved in, or maybe it just could have been as simple as a burglary, an intruder, or something that had gone wrong.
I'm wondering because he's so. When they said suspicious death, I thought, well, he's trying to shift town for Cancun, so he looks good in his boxers or a bathing suit or whatever, swim trunks, and I know that he takes supplements, and he works out really, really hard. I've seen him work out. It's a very intense routine, and he has these heavy dumbbells that he uses, and he's so strong. I mean, there are a couple times we've tried to wrestle just for fun and show me some moves, and there's just no, I don't see how anyone, unless maybe there were two people, I don't see how anyone could overpower him unless there was.
He's a pretty good sized guy.
Yeah, he was close to 200 pounds, I think.
Yeah. It would take, I would say, two people, maybe more, to kind of overpower him. I've tried with officers, working this job, to take down a woman at 135 pounds who's out of control, and it's difficult to control, somebody like that. No ideas come to mind, why somebody would want to hurt him. Did he owe somebody money? Did he have any worries or concerns about anybody?
He did owe people money, but they were all good friends. They weren't it wasn't a bad situation. It was, in fact, there was one family that lent him money that's very, very wealthy from what I understand, and it's not like it hurt them to lend him the money. Of course, they expected him to pay it back, and he had a very reasonable timeline. And they also had a really good collateral in case he didn't pay back. They owned a piece of stock that he owned, so if they didn't pay him back, it was like $6,000 or something. I think it was $6,000. But if he didn't get them paid back on time, then they would just keep his stock, which would eventually be worth over $25,000. So I mean, I don't think they were worried about that at all. That's the Hyatt family. Frank Hyatt was there last night. But that was when he was struggling financially several months back, and I don't know. I haven't talked to him about how that's going since. But I know that.
What's the situation with the car that was, somebody mentioned a BMW?
Yeah, I'm buying his BMW.
Okay, because we found a check that was written by you to him.
Probably a fair assessment, Farrell.
Yeah, I recently. I mailed him that and a few other things. I'm making payments to him.
Okay, and you still have that car right now?
No, it's actually not in my possession. I did the dumbest thing. I went and hooked it up to the U-Haul. Everything's cool and set to go. I got the dolly where the back wheels on the ground because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
And the U-Haul guy said, okay, drive it up here, okay, stop, brake, and everything's cool. And I stopped the
Yep,
car and
very
stopped.
true, Nicholas. She
Both
should have
guys
called a
in the car,
lawyer
the door
first.
opens,
Would have
look
told
at
her to keep
everything,
quiet.
They shut the door and said, you're good to
Zip
go.
your
And I
lip.
stopped. And this is going to sound really dumb. I realized now this is not how you tow a car, but I left it in first gear. And I started headed down the highway and I blew the engine to smithereens. It looked like it gave birth all over the highway. There was just black oil everywhere. And,
Hi, Jennifer.
so it's sitting at
Hi,
West
Jen.
Auto something, last time I checked. It's sitting there in Mesa. And the guy's been really nice about just keeping it until Travis figures out what he can do. We've called lawyers about it. And my lawyer said, have your insurance fix it. And his lawyer said your insurance might not fix it because it might be considered mechanical. So that's the last we talked about it. We've been, he's been real busy and hasn't had a lot of time to attend to it. And I have a vehicle right now, but not for much longer because I have to give it back to the bank. So, either way.
When did you mail that payment?
Get repoed?
It was a few weeks ago. Yeah, it must have been.
So you're still making payments to that?
Oh yeah. In fact, that's my first payment because we just did this car deal like right before I moved, and he said we have a buyer's agreement too. I think that I checked out and emailed to him. But we have, like he said, just get on your feet, and then start sending payments. And the agreement was X amount per month, whatever I could pay. So finally got a job and gave him that payment for $200.
What was $200 a month?
Yeah. It was $100 a month minimum.
Okay.
Minimum. And if I could pay more, please.
Okay. We did talk to certain people, and I don't want to tell you this. I don't want to make you feel bad, but they didn't have the best of things to say about you.
That's like the nicest way to say it. I don't want to make you feel bad, but they didn't have the greatest of things to say about you. I want to see how she answers this.
They felt that you were either taking advantage of him or just hanging around when you weren't wanted. They mentioned you would sometimes end up going into his house. You were in his house when he didn't want you there. And you would ask to leave, but you would continue to return. There was also some talk about you spying on his email and Facebook accounts, those kinds of things.
He gave me his Facebook password and his MySpace password, and I gave him my Facebook password and my Gmail account password. And the reason we did that is because it was kind of dumb. We did that months ago, and we thought, what can we do to try to reestablish trust between us? And why don't we start with that? And so that's what we did. And then, it just didn't work. He got really upset finally, and he's like, this isn't working. And I said, all right, this is too much of a headache. Let's just change our passwords. So we did. We changed our passwords after that.
How long ago did you guys change them?
I changed mine, gosh,
MySpace
long ago,
passwords? Oh,
probably
God.
3 weeks ago, maybe.
I wonder if
don't
my
know if
MySpace
it's
account is
because
still up and
I haven't
running.
once he made
It's
it
probably
clear
still
he
out there
wasn't
somewhere.
Never deleted mine. I don't know.
Beryl will find it.
Yeah, I've been married almost 20 years, and I don't have my wife's email.
Really? I know it's.
You just have to trust sometimes.
It's true. It's true. And I told him, we've had hours upon hours of conversation, and I said, I just don't know if I could ever trust you again, and he doesn't know if he could ever trust me again because I might always want to get back into his phone and find out, does he really have something going on or what? Because, he did at one point.
It's called trust, woman. Just have trust in your partner.
Yeah, I understand that. And
If you don't have trust, then why are you around?
Right?
You don't need a snoop. Just if there's no trust, go.
And as far as getting into his emails, that never happened. What he has on his computer is he would oftentimes just leave his computer on, and he'll leave his Gmail window up. And there were times when I got on his computer to look up other things, and if his Gmail window was open, then I would just close it. That was constantly getting into his email.
Doubt it.
You know,
Doubt
I
you
had to
did that.
mention that to you because we are getting.
Sorry, I'm not watching the chat. I'm arguing with YouTube right now for copyright.
On what?
My songs.
Tell where those things were accessed from by IP addresses, and I just want to make it clear that you know that if you did access it from somewhere else at a certain time, you know, if you access it from California, we're gonna know.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now that I did.
Okay.
He gave me his passwords. No, the only accounts that I've accessed though were MySpace and Gmail because those were the only passwords.
And how long ago?
MySpace, Jesus.
Yeah, right, Nicholas? If the trust is gone, sharing the passwords won't change much. It'll embolden you one way or the other.
Like, he made it clear that he wasn't comfortable with that anymore, and I said that's okay. And I changed my Gmail account password because he got into that too, and then he saw another guy's email there, and gave me a hard time about it, and so it just was dumb. You know, we're both trying to move on, and we're both, I don't know, it was weird.
Seems like there was a lot of jealousy issues.
I think there might have been on both parts. For me, it wasn't so much jealousy as it was like I just wanted to know, like I just wanted him to be honest. And for him, I think one of the reasons I moved was because we were spending too much time together and we weren't moving on, and wasn't able to. I mean, I guess I could have dated other people, but our social circle was so small that anytime you heard about something, it just wasn't good.
Did you move down here the first time because of him?
Yeah, I moved there because of him, and I moved away because
What did I miss?
primary.
Oh, shit.
No, Marissa
Oh, man.
in the chat.
Oh, God. How far were we? I hit the wrong button.
Uh-oh.
Small tan, ropish kind of.
Small tan, ropish kind of. Where were we on that? Damn it. Oh. Okay, let me find the spot we were at. Jamie, no more laughing. It distracts me.
George Costanza's password is Bosco, in case anybody wants.
His services
Oh, yeah,
in
that's right.
California, but that they haven't released his body to his grandma
My
yet.
favorite comment.
How far were we
That's all
into
I've
it
really
when
heard so far.
she's
There was one family that lent him money that's very, very wealthy from what I understand, and it's not like they hurt them to lend him the money. Of course, they expected him to pay it back, and he had a very reasonable timeline. And they also had a really
Did we hear this part already?
All mashed together. I'm sorry.
Oh.
So if they didn't pay him back, it was like $6,000 or something. Or yeah, I think it was $6,000. But if he didn't get them paid back on time, then they would just keep stock, which would eventually be worth.
Yeah, help him, please.
I mean, I don't think they were worried about that at all. That's the Hyatt family. Frank Hyatt was there last night. But that was when he was struggling financially several months back.
They were talking about jealousy.
That was my problem. I was yelling at YouTube and then I was reading the chat and I didn't know where we were in the freaking storyline.
It is.
How that's going since.
What's the situation with the car that was somebody mentioned a BMW?
Yeah, I'm buying his BMW.
Okay, because we found a check that was written by you.
I think we're past that.
Did she cut him a check after he died
I think it was last
to
month.
give her an excuse for being over there?
And
Oh.
the guy's been really nice about just keeping it until Travis figures out what he can do. We've called lawyers about it. And
No,
my lawyer
you
said,
can't leave me for an hour,
you know,
Nicholas.
have your insurance fix it.
I'm
And
terrible,
his lawyer
co-host.
said your insurance might not fix it.
I'm just playing in the chat.
Mechanical. So that's the last we talked about it. We've been he's been real busy and hasn't had a lot of time to attend to it. And I have a vehicle right now, but not for much longer because I have to give it back.
Oh, we're way past this because
You know.
The angry woman in the audience is the victim's sister.
It was a few weeks ago. Yeah, it must have been.
So you're still making payments to that?
Oh yeah. In fact, that's
We're
my
past
first
that.
payment because
We're past this?
car
Yeah.
deal, like right before I moved. He gave me his Facebook password.
Oh, yeah, here we go. All right. This is the password part. I know we were here.
Yeah.
MySpace
I
password.
gave him my Facebook password and my Gmail account password. And the reason we did that is because it was kind of dumb. We did that months and months ago, and we thought,
Okay, but maybe she's kind of smart until she makes the phone call. But if she's not supposed to be going over there, if they're not dating, if they're just kind of hooking up, all right. But then she shows up and she's like, "Oh, I was there because I wrote him a check, and I wrote him the check like dated 3 days prior to his murder." And then you'd be like, "Yeah, I was there 3 days prior." I don't know. Just thinking.
What can we do to try to reestablish trust between us? And, why don't we start with that? And so that's what we did. And then, it just didn't work. He got really upset finally, and he's like, this isn't working. And I said, all right, this is too much of a headache. Let's just change our passwords. So we did. We changed our passwords after that.
How long ago did you guys change them?
I changed mine, gosh, not long ago, probably 3 weeks ago, maybe. And I don't know about his because I haven't, once he made it clear that he wasn't comfortable with that anymore, I didn't even try to get back into his account anymore. So.
Yeah, I've been married almost 20 years, and I don't have my wife's email.
Really? I know it's.
You just have to trust sometimes.
It's true. It's true. And I told him, we've had hours upon hours of conversation, and I said, I just don't know if.
Farrell, remind me of the date of the murder. If the check was dated May 28th, wasn't it in April or something that he was murdered?
No, I thought wasn't it June because it was super hot or something in Arizona?
Okay, so it was dated before the murders then.
If I could ever trust you again, and if he doesn't know if he could ever trust me again, because I might always want to get back into his phone and find out, does he really have something going on or what? Because, he did at one point, and so he said, yeah, I understand that, but if we were married, you would have all my passwords to everything because there wouldn't be anything to worry about.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's nice,
Yeah.
but we're not married. So, and as far as getting into his emails, that never happened. What he has on his computer is he would oftentimes just leave his computer on and
Wait, look at the closed caption. He said what he had on his computer was sticky. That was the closed.
I'm sure it was sticky.
And there were times when I got on his computer to look up other things, and if his Gmail window was open, then I would just close it. That was constantly getting into his email.
I had to mention that to you because we are getting a search warrant for his email.
Look at that Bose radio. I used to have one like that, and you could tell they're setting it up to play it into the microphone sitting at the state's table.
Wow.
That's how they're doing this. That's why it's so quiet.
I've always wanted one of those back in the day.
I had one. It was amazing. It like shook the whole house. It was awesome.
Gmail and Facebook does the
Yeah.
count. And we can't tell where those things were accessed from by IP addresses. And I just want to make it clear that
Well, you spelled it correctly for not knowing what a Bose radio is. It's Bose is a brand, and it was supposed to be like the best sound you could get at home. It was really good. It could get really loud without like fraying or anything.
He gave me his password. No, the only accounts that I've accessed though were MySpace and Gmail because those were the only passwords that he gave me.
Frickin' MySpace.
Weeks ago, we had a conversation where it's like he made it clear that he wasn't comfortable with that anymore, and I said that's okay. And I changed my Gmail account password because he got into that too, and then he saw another guy's email there, and gave me a hard time.
No, Bose is not Bosch.
It just was dumb. We're both trying to move on, and we're both, I don't know, it was weird.
Seems like there was a lot of jealousy issues.
I think there might have been on both parts. For me, it wasn't so much jealousy as it was like I just wanted to know, like I just wanted him to be honest. And for him, I think one of the reasons I moved was because we were spending too much time together and we weren't moving on, and it wasn't able to. I mean, I guess I could have dated other people, but our social circles were so small that anytime you heard about something, it just wasn't good.
Did you move down here the first time because of him?
Yeah, I moved there because of him, and I moved away because of him. primarily. I also moved away for financial reasons. I'm with my grandparents now, but there are three main reasons I moved here. One, I moved my family. Two, financially, and three was because of travel. And the main reason that I moved there was because of travel.
Okay. Yeah, because when we first arrived on scene and started talking to people, some of his closest friends, began mentioning your name as, hey, you need to call her because she probably knows what happened to him, or she possibly had something to do with it.
Oh gosh. No,
That's how bad it was getting at the scene. And I needed to talk to you to find out why they would say something like that. Why they would start pointing fingers in your direction right away.
Because she's a Looney Tune.
Maybe because I'm an ex-girlfriend, we've had lots of fights.
Was there a lot of issues? Obviously it wasn't a great relationship.
It was great for a while until we started fighting because I did know one thing and I got into his phone because I had a suspicion that he wasn't being faithful, and I found a bunch of text messages that were no good, and rather than being an adult about it and confronting him, I kept it in and I kind of let it fester, and I was miserable and I didn't know why, and I wanted to tell him, but I was worried that it would just lead to an unnecessary fight, and then I realized this was no kind of relationship, so it finally all came out, and he was really apologetic, but we just both realized that neither of us could be in an adult relationship, and that was June of last year. So at that point,
Why does everyone need to qualify their relationships as an adult relationship? If you, it's like saying you're intelligent. By saying that means that it's not, right?
we continued to see each other a long time after that.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad I did get a hold of you again. You did call me because it kind of clears up a lot of the questions I had, a lot of the concerns. It's not what I don't think it's what these people thought was going on. So,
I should probably tell you that Travis, when he got upset, he would send me really mean emails. He would send me mean text messages.
Why are you giving why are you giving him motive?
On his Facebook. I know for sure you'll find one on his Facebook, and definitely in his Gmail, and you're welcome to access all of my accounts too if you want. With Travis,
we're probably gonna subpoena all his Facebook and Gmail and everything to see who he was communicating with, what he was saying, what he was saying to him. I'm not sure how far back. We usually go 6 months to a year.
Okay.
But in a case like this, we need to know, who had some type of beef with him, why they would do something like this to him.
I still think she's innocent. They haven't proven enough just yet.
I hate telling people over the phone, but it's like I said, it is a homicide investigation, and it was an angry situation. And when we see scenes like this, the first thing we think is these people hated each other. Somebody went in there to hurt him, and they did. And they hurt him really bad. And he's a big guy, and it would take, like I mentioned to you before, it would take more than one person to do this to him.
Can you?
And I was just hoping maybe you could kind of point me in the right direction. I'm talking to everybody that he knows.
I went to a guy named Thomas Brown, and I don't think that, honestly, I haven't seen or heard from him since he was kicked out. I think his last name was Brown. I could try to find him on LDS Link Up.
Let me find him on MySpace.
That was so long ago, though. That was last spring of 2007, March even. And what happened was he got kicked out because he was considered like borderline sexual predator, not like a rapist, but coming onto girls and that kind of thing. And it just really was down upon in the church. And so he was disfellowshipped, and Travis said, "You need to get out, get your stuff out of my house." It wasn't a friendly situation. It was said over the phone because he and I were in Missouri and somewhere back east, just touring, and Thomas was.
So he ended up kicking him out at that time?
Yeah, he kicked him out at the time, but Thomas, you know, he's a really big guy, but he doesn't seem like this. He doesn't seem violent. He seemed pretty gentle. He just seemed like a little bit thuggish, but like he was trying to act the part, not because he was that. Because he thought it would like attract chicks or something.
So here's my theory, Skittles. He was nude in the shower. She was taking pictures of him, which, by the way, is her MO, as you may or may not hear from later witnesses. And then she slashed at him. He freaked out. He went to the counter in front of the mirror, and then she kept slashing at him. And then he was sort of kind of out of it and freaking out and went down the hall where she finished him off. That's my thought.
Something, I don't know. So he seems honestly like I didn't know him that well, but he seemed like a big dumb teddy bear.
What happened? Oh, that's the end of it. Okay.
Or as part of this conversation.
Gotta turn off his bows.
Was there also a discussion between you and the defendant about whether or not she had some regrets about not being there at the time of the attack?
Yes.
And is that memorialized in this Let 274 as to what her feelings are about whether or not she should have been there?
Yes.
I move to the issue of 274.
Again, Judge, I'm going to object to the admission of another excerpt that I
Please approach.
Okay. You know, and I just wanted to say, you know, again, that Travis and I had an on-off kind of relationship. We just weren't talking a lot the last several weeks, a couple times a week, and I just keep saying, what if I just gone down there, what if I had never moved and I would have been there and I could have, I don't know.
So you guys continue to talk this whole time?
Yeah, definitely. It was more sporadic. But we usually talk late at night, like 12, anywhere between 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. and like 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning.
I don't think she used it as, I think she just took advantage of the situation. She's taken many photos of many men in the shower.
I'm pretty sure he didn't, otherwise I'd know about it. He has his Verizon cell phone and he has his landline.
I don't have any other questions at this time, however, we'll recall them.
I just start posing.
Hello, Detective.
Hello.
So this version of the stream that I'm using cuts out all the sidebars and all of the downtime. So it's just strictly the testimony, which is nice.
Yeah.
You about the portion of your work that Mr. Martinez just spoke to you about, all right?
Okay.
But before we do that, let me back up just a little bit. You mentioned that you were called out to the scene.
Yes.
Okay. How does that?
You want my abs or the ones I had up before?
The call usually comes in from a patrol officer to my supervisor. We had 2 supervisors at that time in the homicide unit, and they make the decision on who to call out to investigate that particular homicide that night.
Okay. So when you received the call to asking you to go out to this address on Queensboro, what information did you have?
The only information I had was that there was a suspicious death, and they gave me the address on Queensboro, and they didn't have any further information.
Okay. And you recall, as best you can estimate, how long a time period was it between the time that you received that call and by the
There.
time you
Now we got the name right.
house on Queensboro?
It was within an hour.
Okay. And describe for us, if you will, what the scene was when you arrived. What was going on when you pulled up to the house?
Well, the house was cordoned off with police caution tape around the entire residence. Actually, the street was blocked off as well. And there were police vehicles and patrol officers and patrol supervisors there at that time.
Okay. You say the street was blocked off. Was that just in front of the house or was that the entire street?
No, just in front of the house.
Okay. And it sounded, seems to me like there were some, based on what Officer Williams told us, there were some people around the house. Where were they?
I think Gigi
They
just
were
wants
off
to see
on
the
one of
pictures.
corners, probably about 30 to 40 yards away from the house.
Okay. And why don't you tell us, were there several officers there? Or just kind of give us a description of that?
Anywhere from around 4 to 6 officers, I would say.
Okay. So the crime scene had been cordoned off. The people were put into a certain area, correct?
They weren't really put in an
Okay.
area, but they were off on a corner somewhere. There were neighbors and, from what I could tell, friends of Travis.
Okay. And tell us what you did when you got up to the house.
We first met with the patrol supervisor,
Okay.
uniform patrol supervisor there, and we received a briefing of what they've received so far, the information, and what they've done up to that point.
Okay. And that was the night of the 9th?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And you said you were there till the early morning hours of the 10th?
We were there pretty much the entire day, the rest of the day as well.
Okay. So how long did you stay on that first night?
I don't recall the exact time, but I know it was evening. It was dark when we left on the 10th.
Okay. And then you returned the 10th?
Yes.
In the morning?
Yes.
Okay. And this phone call we just heard about, we just heard excerpts from, I should say. When did that take place?
That took place late morning, early afternoon on the 10th.
Okay. And then when you referenced during that phone call, you just heard it, correct?
Yes.
You referenced people talking about Miss Arias being a stalker, always around when she wasn't supposed to be, that sort of thing. Where did that information come from?
That information came from some of my fellow officers and fellow detectives who I assigned to go talk and interview some of the people at the scene.
Okay. So they conduct interviews with these various people, and then you discuss what they learned
Yes.
with them. Okay. And did you talk to anyone specifically that night?
We conducted some interviews at the Mesa Police Station. Mimi Hall, who was here testifying, we talked to her and some of the roommates as well.
Okay.
There was 2 roommates in particular.
And that was part of your portion of the initial investigation, right? The
Yes.
part you did yourself. Okay. I want to again focus in on that phone call.
Depending on the
Miss
wardrobe, there
Arias
might not be
told
much
you
money
that
to be had.
Travis's weapons were his 2 fists. You recall hearing that?
Yes.
A few minutes ago? Okay. She also mentioned that he, I think her words were to the effect of loves beating the crap out of a punching bag.
Yes.
Okay. Was there a punching bag found in the home?
Yes, there was.
Okay. And where was that located?
It was, I would say the downstairs living room area.
Okay. And could you describe that for us? Because I know sometimes there's punching bags that sit on the ground, sometimes hang from the ceiling.
It's one of the type that sits on the ground, has the larger base. I don't know, it's filled with water or sand or something.
Okay.
And then it has the punching bag padded area above it.
Okay. When you found that, or you observed that, and I should back up, you did enter the home that night, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you observed that punching bag, did it look like it was in place, like it had been used recently? Do you know?
I couldn't tell.
Okay. She also mentioned in this phone call.
They've already grown. I
that
just need to shave the
she was
between
employed
parts.
by Mr. Alexander to clean his home.
Yes.
Did you later went through, you talked also in this phone call about going through subpoenaing his Facebook, his MySpace.
Yeah, the punching bag
all
had a
that
picture
stuff,
of Jodi
correct?
on it.
Yes.
Okay. And did you review those materials?
No, I never subpoenaed them at that time. It was at a later date.
Okay, at a later date.
Yes.
But you did eventually get to reviewing those materials.
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember how much later that was?
A year,
Okay.
year and a half.
Year and a half
I
later.
can't remember the specific date, but yeah.
All right. Do you remember seeing an email from Mr. Alexander to Miss Arias where he provides her a picture of the French maid outfit that he would like her to don when she cleans his apartment or his home, excuse me?
That doesn't
Ooh.
sound familiar.
Okay.
I don't remember.
French maid
All
outfit.
right. You
I want to see
also
photos of that outfit.
asked Miss Arias about rope or tassels, or when you were talking about the bedding, you specifically brought up
Hey,
rope
Brit.
or tassels. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Hey.
Could you tell us why you did that?
In part of the scene, we actually saw a small piece of fabric. It appeared to be maybe part of a tassel. And it was right in the middle of the scene in the bathroom.
Okay. A moment, Your Honor.
That's why we're all here, Dirk. And then we're going back to the other trial.
I'm going to hand you Exhibit 271. Exhibit 270.
Tassels. You want me in a French maid outfit with tassels, Gigi?
Oh.
268.
What? This is not happening.
267.
I want to see Jodi Arias in the French maid outfit.
You could do. Here we go, Seinfeld. You could do a George, a reenacted George.
Oh, that would be amazing.
And 268.
But I have to have like the crushed velvet couch and everything.
Now, Detective, I
In my
showed you,
boxers.
do you
Whitey, or
recognize
what-
the
he has a-
exhibit
He's wearing boxers.
Oh, he boxers,
looking
yeah.
for you?
Yes.
Well, there's Kramer in the whitey
And,
tighties.
as it relates, there are some that relate to the bathroom area, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And there are some that are elsewhere in the house, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. But you recognize all those photos as true and accurate depictions of the crime scene that you saw that night?
Yes, they are.
Judge, I'd move for the admission of those exhibits.
Any objection?
No.
Exhibit 265, 266, 267, 268, 269, 270, and 271 are admitted. Nay.
And for the record, Detective, we're going to begin with Exhibit 270. Could you describe for us what you see there?
French maid outfit.
Yeah, it's that piece of fabric
Oh.
listed as number 8 with placard 8.
And that is the rope or tassel you're referring to with Miss Arias in the phone call?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Detective, I'm going to show you Exhibit 271. And could you advise us what we're seeing there?
Same one as the last one, just at a different angle.
Okay. And again, for the record, Exhibit 265.
I like these cuts.
Yes.
They
Another
go
piece
straight
of,
through the
rope or
evidence
tassel.
without any of the downtime.
I like the
And
fade
so
away.
we're clear as well.
Every
That's another piece, correct?
A separate piece,
Okay.
also in the bathroom area.
And Detective, if you could describe for us.
Nicholas on a bearskin rug.
That's same as the last one, item number 3, different angle.
And for the record, this is Exhibit 266. Detective, could you describe for us what you see in this exhibit?
You talking about the same?
So
placard
she
number 3?
mentioned,
2, 3.
Same.
okay. So on the phone call, she's describing like the curtains and the sheets in the bed and stuff like that, and they're talking about tassels. Just so happens that there's tassels that have been apparently ripped off and are on the floor. Do you think Jody's mentioning them because she knows they're ripped off and on the floor, or do you think the police are, you know, not misconstruing, but framing the evidence in a way where obviously she knew about these. She mentioned them on the phone and they're ripped off on the floor. When in reality, she didn't necessarily know. I mean, even if she did the murder, does she know if these tassels are ripped off on the floor? This is kind of the nonsensical. They're going to use everything to their advantage. This is why you don't make the phone call in the first
Right.
place. I think it's more likely they asked her some questions and she was describing in great detail, but not necessarily because they were ripped off on the floor. The police are just using this to connect the dots.
And 4.
Yeah, same as the last. There were also other items there. I believe the other 2 and 4 were hair fibers.
And as we were talking earlier, pieces of this rope-like substance were also found elsewhere in the home, were they not?
Yes.
I want to show you, for the record, exhibit number 268. Could you describe for us what we see there?
Yes, another piece of the thread or string tassel, and this was actually on the stairs leading up to the bedroom.
Okay. And this would be that same piece of rope, just further depicting the stairs, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, without the placard.
Okay. Now, in terms of choosing to photograph these items, or do you direct a person to take certain pictures, or how does that work?
Yes, it's up to my direction.
Okay. And so then be it on the 9th or the 10th, your attention was drawn to this rope and thought it might be of significance in your investigation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The other bit of conversation you had with Ms. Arias dealt with, she told you when you were discussing the emails, you were talking about getting into his emails, and she was talking about discussions they had while in the email account. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall her saying that he had said several mean things to her?
Yes.
In these emails? And I guess according to your testimony previously, it was about a year and a half later that you actually looked at these emails, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you remember seeing emails in which Mr. Alexander referred to Miss Arias as a, quote, three-hole wonder?
Yes, I did.
Three-hole wonder?
Yes.
As a whore?
Yes.
Travis referred to her as a three-hole wonder and a whore. Hang on. I'll back it up. Hang on. Three-hole wonder.
Is the third hole the mouth?
I don't think it's the ear.
Well, I'm assuming, but I just want to make sure.
They, of course, object to hearsay, but hang on.
It was about a year and a half later that you actually looked at these emails, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you remember seeing emails in which Mr. Alexander referred to Miss Arias as a, quote, three-hole wonder?
Yes, I did.
That's so stupid.
As a slut?
Yes.
As a whore?
Yes.
Thank you, Detective.
Three-hole wonder. Should that be the new name for our chat? No.
Redirect.
Why was he referring to her like that? What had she done?
Speculation.
No lies detected.
Well, you read that email, right? You responded to defense counsel, didn't you?
Yes.
Any knowledge that you have comes from that email, doesn't it?
Yes.
What did that email say? Why was he upset?
Objection calls for speculation.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take the noon recess at this time. Please be back in the designated area at 1:25, and we will start promptly at 1:30. Please remember the admonition. Are there any questions? Have a nice lunch. You are excused.
All right. That is the morning of day
Is
2.
it?
That's it. It's nice when they edit out everything. It goes
Yeah.
by fairly quickly.
Goes quick.
So we have the detective, the first one that was assigned to investigate. Jodi called him, made several statements, none of which were good for her. At the least, they were innocuous, but at the worst, they were bad for her, and none were good. But the one thing I did draw from this, other than she knows intimate details and was trying to cover up a whole host of stuff, is that the police will use every little thing that you say against you. And again, in the context of the conversation, she was describing his bedroom, and she would talk about tassels and stuff on, I think, the drapes or whatever, or maybe the bed comforter or something. But that's now being used against her to say, look, the tassels are on the floor in this crime scene. So that's why she mentioned them, because she knew that she had ripped them off, or they became ripped off in the struggle. I don't know. That's what I took from it.
Yeah.
Cunning.
She's just a talker. She shut her mouth.
Well, it's like everyone else we see, even, today, with Sarah Boone or Letitia Stout or whomever. They are talkers. They like to talk. And it never does you any good. Like I always say, don't put yourself in the location of the crime, even if you were completely innocent. Don't talk. Don't put yourself there, because that could be used against you. Bye, friends. Yes, please like and subscribe to both Nicholas's and my stream. If you guys are watching this on mine, head over to Nicholas's when we're done here. Give it a thumbs up. Throw a comment in the section. It helps with the Google Gods. We are doing dual streams throughout the Jodie Arias trial. So it helps us both if you guys can do that. You don't have to watch it all again, but if you pop over, or vice versa, if you're over on Nicholas's stream, come over here and give us a thumbs up. Maybe throw something in the comment if you're in the what is it? The after watch party?
The
rewatch part. Yeah, rewatch crew. Yeah, if you're part of the rewatch crew. And
three-hole wonder.
We need to test this new evidence, sir. Yes. We need to test the new evidence. All right. So we're bringing this to you guys on both Tuesdays and Saturdays at noon Eastern, 6 p.m. Swedish time, and whatever other time you happen to be watching it in between those. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't to either one of our channels, and hit the notification little bell icon so you get notices of when we do all of these streams. Saturday, we will have the continuation of day 2, which goes a lot longer. It's like 3 hours of testimony, straight testimony, as opposed to this was 1 hour. I don't know why they're different. I do, again, the sidebars and stuff are cut out, so that's probably why. There might have been a lot of sidebars and stuff in this particular morning session, but I like not having to deal with them and jump forward with them. So you guys will be, if you're on my stream, you'll be automatically redirected back to the afternoon session of the Rudolph case. But otherwise, I will see you all back here again on Saturday for more Jodi Arias goodness. And Nicholas will hopefully be back with us. If not, it'll be me again. Or maybe, am I available this Saturday? Maybe it's just him. I don't know. Either way, one of us or both of us will be here. And we'll see you then. I don't think we have end credits, so I'm just going to end the stream. And we'll see you on Saturday.